Hey, there we are. Hello, everybody. Greetings. Let me
Hello.
do the intro. I just said hello, everybody. Greetings, guys, gals, and non binary pals. Welcome to Viral Transmissions, episode number 27. I'm Joe Fulgham.
27
I know. Joining me, as usual, is Dr. Rob Tarswell. We have no
at
guest
your
this
service.
week. We got some good news well, not good news, interesting news. Let's call it interesting news.
Interesting news on episode 27, Grade A, Boneless Wings.
Grade A boneless wings. Viral Transmissions is supported in part by the BC Humanist Association. You can learn more at bchumanist.ca. So let's get to it with the numbers.
Numbers.
31 million in the world infected. 958,000 deaths. The USA is up to 6.8 million infections and 200,000. I saw 202. I saw 202,000 on Google earlier today. Uh, we
For sure, though, over this weekend, the U.S. passed the 200,000 death mark.
Yeah. We'd been talking earlier about the U.S. deaths in World War II as being about 400,000. That turns out to be all of their deaths in World War II. A better number to look at is the combat deaths in World War II, and
Yeah.
that is a mere 291,557 deaths. So COVID-19 is coming up on being the number one, well, the number two killer of Americans when compared to wars. The only thing that's killed more has been the American Civil War once it passes World War II, because of course both sides were American there. And as Rob pointed out when I was like, that's interesting that it's even more than twice before the show. Back in the Civil War, triage and medical help for people wounded was not quite as good as World War II.
Surgery was bad, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, the option was amputate.
yeah,
Amputate or death, and often amputate and death.
and when you've been shot in the head, that's amputation is not going to help very much.
No, no, no.
So you can look forward to that. I think there's really no doubt America's going to get another 90,000 deaths out of this. Like it's just when you look at the
Yeah.
graphs and the way things are going up. We'll talk about graphs and stuff a little bit later. Well, actually, no. We have let's go into. We've got Canada at 144,000 total cases and 9,200 deaths. Let's put the link right in here. This is great. We posted part of this on our Facebook page. It's from a site called informationisbeautiful.net, which is fantastic, and they have all sorts of really great ways at looking at a lot of this COVID information. Including some really surprising and scary stuff. If you look right at the top, coronavirus infection trajectories with new cases. India is way up there with 93,000. I think this is a rolling 7-day average, is what it says. Yeah. 93,000 new infections per week.
Uh, you sure? Because it's 45,000 a day in the U.S.
Yeah, the US is
The,
below them. India is number one for new
but
infections.
Right, but 93,000 a day, not 93,000 a week.
Uh,
It's a rolling 7-day average, but
oh,
it's not an average.
right. You're right. Sorry, it is per
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Okay, you're right.
yeah.
Sorry. God,
So
that's
about
even worse.
every 11 days is a million new infections in India right
Jesus. Oh my
now.
God.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I was
Hmm.
thinking because 7-day average that it was. But you're right. Yeah, it's the average
Yeah,
of 7 days, not all 7 days
right.
together averaged out.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
damn. So 93,000, US at 41,000. Brazil is holding in there at 33,000. Really check out this link because you can click to see new cases per million, and when you do that, the outlier is Israel, which
Which
is
was a surprise.
that blew me away. That they are skyrocketing in new cases
Yeah.
per million people, and it's only been in about the last month too. Before this month, before it looks like, because does this go up to 200 days? I think 200 is the day. Yeah. So before that, they were, still bad, middle of the pack with all the rest of the bad. But then starting, it looks like almost exactly a month ago, they just went up and almost no slowing down. It looks like a few little hitches here and there, but they're in big trouble. Deaths per million Peru and Belgium are leading those. We looked up why Belgium was, because I thought it was very odd that Belgium was so high in deaths per million, because them being in the European Union and stuff like that. And it seems to be a combination of a bunch of things, including the fact that they're just a very small country. So when you do deaths per million, it's very big. But one thing they're doing is they are including every single suspected death at care homes as being a COVID death, whereas most places are not. And only of the deaths, only 16% were in care homes. Only 16% were confirmed COVID. So those would have been the numbers had they reported the same as everybody else. They probably would have had much, much lower deaths per million. But they are including what we'd here call excess deaths as being COVID deaths.
So they might even be overcounting slightly, but they're definitely capturing all their COVID-related deaths.
Yeah. The good thing about their deaths per million, at least, is it doesn't look like it's going up much. Like it had a big up trajectory, and now it's going across. Tons of great info there. The one that we posted was super interesting for numbers. Rob found this out and posted it on our Facebook page, which is that the average disease deaths per day worldwide for COVID-19 are now number 1 in the world, beating out tuberculosis and hepatitis B and pneumonia quite a bit. This was last updated 1st of September. COVID is at 3,475 average deaths per day worldwide. The number 2 is tuberculosis with only 3,014. Only. Let's put some air quotes around that.
Seattle just puts the coronavirus deaths closer to 5,000 a day, so it is not stopping. So it is by far the number 1 cause of daily deaths of the infectious disease causes, and it's going to be starting to gun in on global deaths due to accident, cancer, and heart disease. Although pretty tough to beat cancer and heart disease because those are major global killers. But it could surpass accidents. We'll keep on top of it, and we'll let you know.
It's one of those times when you hope you don't have good content for your show. Can we not do that? The good content would be, we've avoided beating accidents and it's worldwide going down. That would be the news I want. I don't want the news.
But that's not.
It's not
what it's looking like right now. It definitely looks like we are in an upward accelerating exponential phase of the disease, just in time for respiratory virus season. Here we are near, we're into the 3rd week of September, starting tomorrow. And this is when all the kids start getting the colds and the flus. Yeah. Ontario had its first school closure. Wow. So the first bathtub has gone down. The Nanaimo bathtub races are underway. The first bathtub is down. Catholic school in Ontario. It won't be the last.
This is going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And we don't do denialism till later in the show, but it feels like the denialists have gained in power. That the people, despite the fact that numbers are rising, deaths are rising, cases are rising, like even here in Canada, even here in BC, the people who think it's all bullshit and they shouldn't be, quote, forced to wear a mask. Yeah. Those numbers seem to be growing. I thought I scared off all the people who were suckers for bullshit out of my Facebook friends page because I am unapologetic in calling out bullshit. But I actually had a friend post a meme it was a picture of a probably, I guess, 10-year-old girl, and she had a rash all over her face. And it was talking about how wearing a mask all day gave her a rash. And I just said, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, even if it was true, a rash in place of dying from COVID, or worse, spreading it to their family who then dies of COVID because they're a kid, it's probably only thing they'll get is long-term heart disease. Maybe. We don't know. So yeah, I really have absolutely... Hey, thanks for the subscription, Ashes of Owls. I super appreciate that. We got a subscription, Rob. With Prime. Now is a good time to point out, if you have an Amazon Prime account so that you get the free delivery and all that stuff from Amazon, which, I mean, I have problems with them, but I also use Amazon myself. Amazon owns Twitch, and you can connect your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and then you get a free subscription for a Twitch streamer, which includes us. and it doesn't cost you anything extra, and we get basically half of what the Twitch subscription would cost. Yeah, exactly. If you don't do it, Bezos gets to keep all of that money. So if you subscribe to us, we get a little bit. So yes, thank you, Ashes of Isles. I super appreciate that.
Yeah. Subscribing to viral transmissions is praxis.
Yes, it absolutely is. We will try to keep money out of Bezos's. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, good luck with that.
He's
got the giant Hoover in the sky.
It's not what we talk about, but I'm going to segue just a little bit into a thing I saw, which was that if Bezos gave every one of his 890,000 employees $105,000, if he just went, here you go, here's $105,000, he would still be just as rich as he was at the start of the COVID pandemic.
So he's doing fine.
He's doing fine. But he's doing fine because he's obviously underpaying the people who generate his wealth. Each one of those people has made $105,000 for him on average.
I am wealthier than some sovereign nations.
Anyway, let's get back onto COVID. Fucking Bezos. I can't understand being that wealthy.
I want to see more reactions like that. That's the real reason to subscribe, folks.
Fucking Bezos. And there will be reactions. We're gonna get to do a Joe Fulgham reacts on this one. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Grade A boneless wings. Okay.
Speaking of grade A, Rob, why don't you give us our first news article?
Well, there's a new Bob Woodward tape that's just come out, and in which President Donald Trump is asked to assess his own performance handling the coronavirus pandemic. And the spoilers in the title, folks.
He was honest, right? He was honest and said, well, we kind of mishandled at the beginning, but I feel like we're getting there now. I've worn a mask once in a while. Is that what he said?
No, it's just been chef's kiss all the way. We can pull that video up if you're interested. I haven't even seen this one yet because this just sort of hit my streams in the last 5 minutes before we went on the air.
All right,
we renamed the show because of this. This is just too good.
We literally named it. All right, let's hit. I'm gonna share this. I haven't seen this myself, so this is also Joe Fulgham reacts. Here we go.
Impossible because it's a fake media. I know you just. Well, I think you do. Agree, but yeah. Other than the fact that I have been unable to.
So what's the grade, sir?
On treating us fairly, I give ourselves an A. But the grade is incomplete, and I'll tell you why. If we come up with the vaccines and therapeutics, then I give myself an A plus.
Bob, take us inside.
Should we keep watching the rest? We don't need to see the rest of that. It's fine. Fucking asshole.
Wow. So, just an A until there's a vaccine, then it's an A plus.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The man is delusional. He's lived his life delusional. Donald, I think I have a pretty good idea in my head who Donald Trump is. Like, he was born dumb, a bully, and fabulously wealthy. And his dad set up his wealth so he couldn't lose it. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Trump's dad set up all the stuff that Trump would inherit into companies that he wasn't allowed to fuck with, so that he would keep getting money out of them all the time. But Donald still managed to go bankrupt and fuck things up multiple times. So that's why he became a reality TV star, because he was a famous slumlord, ran out of money and went, well, Hollywood loves me, don't they? And became a reality TV star. So to me, he has just bullied and dummied his way through life, the whole way through. And he thinks when he says something, it becomes true because everybody around him,
there's an army of minions that makes it true.
They just make it true or make him think it's true, and have done that for his whole life.
Yeah, Trump lives in the Truman Show.
He really does. It makes him one of the worst possible choices for president of the United States you could possibly think of. The man lives in an absolute fantasy world. And that's why he's done so poorly with this. Like, Yeah, the Trumpman show. There you go, Doc Samsonite. That's you. Doc Samsonite.
A radioactive psychiatrist.
And the guy still has about a third of America supporting him.
Yeah, that's the fascinating part, right? There's so much to be written and understood about that. How, I mean, you can understand how one guy
Yeah.
ends up in the Trumpman show,
Yeah.
but how does he take 60 million people with him, or
The-
90 million people? Wow.
Well,
And
that supremely overconfident guy who never thinks he's wrong looks like he knows what he's doing,
yeah, sure.
right? It's just that, I think. Well, not just that. That's the hook. Shunk. He looks like he knows what he's doing and says things I like. And then once you've convinced yourself that you follow that guy, well, now I have to make up excuses for why everybody's saying he's wrong.
One part is
Wrong.
if you kind of wrote it differently, if Trump was an entry in Am I the Asshole?
Yeah.
And I'm a I may have raped a lot of women. I may have broken into dressing rooms of teenage girls. I may be responsible for 200,000 deaths. But the media just wouldn't give me a fair shake. Am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm willing to give him half of those deaths. Like you know what I mean? America has twice the deaths per capita as Canada. Isn't that the number, twice the deaths per capita than Canada, I think, or at least they did at one point. Maybe we've done better. So
it's one way to look at it.
So
yeah.
So to me, I'm like, look, you're probably not going to stop all of them. You're probably not going to close your borders up so solid that COVID didn't get in, that people didn't get infected, that it didn't spread, that you didn't have outbreaks, right? I don't ask for perfection, but they didn't do anything right. It's running rampant. The numbers are skyrocketing.
To only give them 100,000, because the other way to look at it, right, is the U.S. only has 5% of the global population and has 20% of global coronavirus deaths.
So that's 4 times. Yeah, exactly.
So they're punching way above their weight.
And so that's me being charitable. I am willing to be charitable. America is a hard country to control. It's a hard country to get people to wear masks. I think even if Trump told people to wear masks, you would have way more people saying it's bullshit. The government can't tell me nothing. Right. So I think 100,000, I think if you had, let's say Hillary Clinton, let's rewind, right? Russia didn't interfere with the last election. Hillary Clinton was the president. They didn't get rid of the how to handle the upcoming pandemic thing that, I can't remember what it's called, that Obama set up, the pandemic response team.
Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton is president and COVID hits and it starts to come over. I'm willing to admit maybe 100,000 would have died. That it still would be a big problem, that they would be desperately telling people, please wear masks, and people would be refusing all over the place. So that's charitable, but still 100,000 deaths. It's 25,000 Benghazis, you fucks. He's the asshole. All right, what else we got? Surely he's the only problem.
Well,
in the American right wing.
It's a week of political intrigue, folks, because a memo recently issued by Secretary Azar, Secretary of the Department of Human and Health Services in the U.S., asserts control over the Food and Drug Administration, and he says he's constrained their ability to issue new rules. So there's a lot of fighting going on within the Mandarinate. Who knows how it's all going to shake out, but there's definitely a big internal power struggle coming, and that's important because the Food and Drug Administration, for those who didn't know, the FDA, those are the people that say what drugs are approved and what drugs aren't approved.
Right.
And as everybody knows, there's phase 3 trials of vaccines happening in the U.S. right now, and the question arises, well, is HHS going to override the FDA if the FDA says no to a vaccine? Because there's no way that they're overriding to make the FDA more safe. They're like, oh, we're really worried about you. You're a rampant rogue department. We're having to constrain you and rein you in and impose extraordinary controls over your approval process.
Yeah.
No. That's not what's happening at all. And they, from the department that brought you fish tank cleaner as the first cure,
Yeah.
and then brought you blood of the living. Um, I don't think we have to worry too much about the FDA being a little on the loosey-goosey side. So I guess
Yeah.
Secretary Azar's worried, hey, they're not loose enough. So here's this memo, which does look to like a power grab. It's an article in the New York Times here, if I can grab that link and put it in the show notes for the folks at home following along live. There you go. And why that's important will come up when we discuss science, because
Yeah.
there's not it's not for no reason that this memo has been written. We don't know where the money trail goes, but there's one to be had, and absolutely, we're going to find a few red flares up in the sky as we talk a little more about this one. So next, the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs in the Department of Human and Health Services, Health and Human Services, Michael Caputo, who is the guy that the world found out last week has actually been forcing wording changes into Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, the central journal for early epidemiological warnings used worldwide. It's a staple of the Center for Disease Control. Essentially, it's if there's kind of a holy text of epidemiology, it's MMWR for early disease detection and monitoring. And we found out that he's been forcing wording changes and softening some of the scientific editorial conclusions to bring them more in line with administration talking points around the dangerousness of the virus. He had perhaps one or two wobbly pops, and for whatever reason, decided to hop on a Facebook live stream. And this is what he had to say.
Oh, what the hell happened there? I clicked it and it went somewhere. Okay, hold on.
There he is.
I had it loaded, and then when I went to click it,
It's worth the wait, folks. There he is.
okay, so this is my reaction because I haven't seen this. So this is the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at the U.S. Department of Health. So this was a week ago. Wow.
Okay, guys. So,
What?
if you're watching the press, whether it's the Buffalo News or the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or any of these media outlets, I'm under siege. It's been going on for a couple of weeks, and I don't care because I have the president's support. I know that because he's told me so. They're after me for two reasons, and I want to tell you what they are so you understand, and you understand that I'm not going anywhere. They're going to have to kill me, and unfortunately, I think that's where this is going. The partisan Democrats, the conjugal media, and the scientists, the deep state scientists, want America sick through November. They cannot afford for us to have any good news before November because they're already losing. Donald Trump right now, if the election were held today, would win. Not by much, and I want to talk about that for a minute, but he would win. And that's why Kamala Harris is out there talking like an anti-vaxxer. I know some people on my feed are against vaccines, and I encourage you not to get one if you don't want one. I encourage you to follow freedom.
So wait. So he uses anti-vaxxer as an insult and then goes, but that's not to you anti-vaxxers that support me. Like,
Yeah, that's right. If you're an anti-vaxxer because of freedom, that's different.
yeah.
That's different than being an anti-vaxxer for unspecified reasons.
That is him revealing the tribal source of all of this. That this has nothing to do with right or wrong. It just has to do with us and them. If you're one of our anti-vaxxers, you're one of the good ones. But if you're one of those anti-vaxxers, you're a bad one.
You're a bad person.
Anywhere it leads. But I'm going to get a vaccine. In fact, as Assistant Secretary of Health, I'll be one of the first ones to get a vaccine. And I know it's safe because I'm involved in its development, not as just watching it closely. And let me tell you something. There is tons of positive news out there about this pandemic. And the Democrats can't have it. They're
Yeah, I was involved in making that amazing dinner I had at a restaurant because I glanced over at the kitchen that one time.
Media
well, I chose it out of the menu.
Yeah, so I was involved, yeah.
Scientists working for this government who do not want America to get better.
Yeah, that's why they all become medical scientists, is they're pro-illness. And they're like, I'm going to become a highly placed scientist so I can choose politics over science.
Yes.
I can can totally see the career path, right? That's how that works.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
There are scientists who work for this government who do not want America to get well, not until after Joe Biden is president.
So you see this as kooky. I also see this as fascist maneuvering.
These people cannot.
These people
cannot allow America to get
the
better.
ones
Nor
that Trump's
going to
get rid of.
America to hear good news. It must be all bad news from now until the election. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that's sedition. They are sacrificing lives in order to defeat Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, that's sedition. It's also, well, call it what you will. But when they let somebody get sick and die,
it's also,
there's one.
Well, call it what you will.
Let somebody get sick and die. Who's letting people get sick and die, Michael? Who's doing that?
Who's the person not? Yeah.
One word for that.
Jesus.
This weighs really heavily on me. I think I mentioned this the last time I was on here. The first time I use my voice every day is to discuss a death. We count the dead. And we discuss them first thing in the
Not
morning.
all of them, though.
Every day. It's now below 1,000, but for time, there was a time when it was, 5 digits. It was a frightening time. Every day, people die. If you don't believe this virus is real, you're not waking up every morning and talking about dead Americans.
Well, so
It
that's
weighs
true.
heavily.
Give him a thumbs up for that.
I've been there 4 months now, maybe a little less. Honest to God, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to talk about death anymore.
Yeah, okay. This is not a kooky rant, Rob. I don't see this as a kooky rant. He is playing it up. He is being emotional, he's acting like he's being all emotional and shit.
I'm not going anywhere.
This dude, this is a setup for cleaning house. That's what this is. This is, at the very least, it's a trial of cleaning house. They are going to see how well this message of those scientists in the government are against Donald Trump is going to play. And if it plays well, they're going to go in and get rid of all of them. They're going to fire them all, claim that this was the thing that brought their attention to it. They're going to install a whole bunch of Trump's little yes people in there in place of these so-called bad scientists. And it's going to happen just before the election. You watch it. And then they're going to release a vaccine and claim that it's all done. Oh, my God.
They're not going to run me out. If the president asks me to leave, I will leave. I really want to leave. Some of you who know me know my health is failing. My mental health is definitely failing. I don't like being alone in Washington. The shadows on the ceiling in my apartment, they are alone. Those shadows are so long.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Before.
That's
shadows on the ceiling in my apartment are alone. Okay.
Wow, I was expecting like a kind of unhinged drunken rant. To me, that was actually terrifying. That was the call to get rid of people who are against Donald Trump in the in science in the government. Like, Jesus.
There could be a mix in there.
Yeah.
It certainly he seemed quite convinced when he was talking about threats on his own life and a plot
Yeah.
against him. Um,
To me, it seemed like it's what I call Fulgham's rule, which is Fulgham's rule is when the right makes an accusation, it's usually a confession.
maybe,
Right. And they've been talking about getting rid of their opponents. So he turns it around to be like, they're trying to get rid of me in the worst way possible. Uh,
he's since deleted the video.
yeah. Yeah. So maybe it didn't go over as well as he had hoped. Maybe that's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
I see this. This is the thing that I feel like I see out of this executive branch, that they'll try everything. They'll float any balloons they can. They'll see which ones can work. They will maneuver to get whatever power they can, and they don't give a crap about anything else. I really don't feel that guy gives too much of a crap about those deaths. He just knows that he should, so he's playing a part. To me, that felt phony. That felt really phony. That's how I felt about that.
Yeah, he's deflecting 100% of the blame for those deaths
Yeah.
onto a cabal of scientists that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, "Wow, we've got a big problem here. We're working as hard as we can. There's a lot we need to do to up our game." Right? It was just nothing serious or sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then just those crocodile tears about the deaths.
So then wrapping up the whole, we're doing everything we can. I give myself an A. We have a news story out of something that the USPS wanted to do. US
The
Postal
United
Service.
States. Yeah. Back in April, it was just revealed recently, the U.S. Postal Service wanted to send 5 reusable masks to every household in America. And they were ready to go.
Would have been
They
amazing.
had a statement prepared. It would have been such an easy political win for the U.S. administration. But at the last minute, that was kiboshed, and that never happened. And who knows how many lives were lost because that simple mass action never occurred.
Well, we're finding out now that masks can be pretty much as effective as a vaccine, right? Like if a mask becomes 70% effective, that's about as good as a lot of the vaccines we use are. And if you get everybody 70% protected, that's herd immunity, right? So if that had happened, and if a significant amount of people had then taken it upon themselves to wear those masks,
yeah, it would have prevented some transmission.
it would have been huge.
Reduced R0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't happen because, and as we now know, there's been since April, there's been a big push on the illegitimacy of voting by mail, and so therefore the illegitimacy of the post office. And you can't let the post office have a win like this.
Yeah.
Even though it really would have been a win for society. So that's just kind of amazing that was there. There was even they had a letter, everything.
Well, at least things are better in Canada. We don't have right-wing politicians fucking up COVID, do we? Here in Canada.
Well, Canada's new opposition leader Aaron O'Toole just tested positive for the coronavirus. Not only him, but the Bloc Québécois leader, which is another sort of center-right party based out of Quebec that's more or less focused on Quebec issues. Even though at one time they were Canada's official opposition party.
That's right.
Canadian politics is messed up. We'll go into that another time. So Yves-François Blanchet tested positive for the coronavirus. This is all in the last couple of days. And Aaron O'Toole is thought to have got it through one of his staffers. Yves-François Blanchet is thought to have got it through his wife. So a large portion of the political apparatus in Ottawa, in our federal government, is now in quarantine. Of course, we wish them the best in terms of their disease course and recovery. But it's really interesting that Aaron O'Toole has kind of been on a victory tour recently, meeting with premiers. When he was proclaimed the winner a couple of weeks ago, there, on TV, you could see that there were no masks, there was no social distancing among the conservatives, and they just kind of broke out the Mickeys and started guzzling right up there on the stage. So it's doesn't take a public health expert to know that if you're drinking alcohol, you're less likely to follow coronavirus guidelines, which looks like they hadn't been in place at all. So who knows who there was positive and started spreading it to who knows who.
And there's not enough alcohol in a drink to sanitize your mouth, right? Like
there is not.
Yeah.
Ultimately, so this leads to him getting it, and who knows who else he got it or gave it to on his cross-Canada victory tour, visiting conservative premiers in conservative provinces and bringing various demands to Ottawa. The usual sort of victory lap that you get to do if you win the leadership of a political party. That's okay, great. You get to take your victory lap. You get to go on your tour, but you also need to wear masks.
Yeah.
And you also need to be socially distanced, and you got to not be shaking hands.
Yeah.
So do well, but damn it, man. Set an example.
Yeah.
Just set an example. Be an opposition leader that I can go, okay, this is the guy who's going to focus on the true weak points in proposed government policy. He's going to bring these things to light, bring good, cogent analysis, and truly present himself as the leader of a government in waiting.
Yeah.
Early
signs.
Results. Early signs bad. Okay, so
I would. I got one comment on that. I would love for my thought of what conservatives were as I was growing up to be true, which is they're the party that's in there going, well, we like that plan, but maybe we could do it cheaper. Right? To me, that's what conservative is can we just keep the cost of government down? And I think keep the cost of government down where you can. That's a valid thing to do. I'm not pro overspending. Let's make it efficient. But that's not what they're about. They're more about, government shouldn't do that thing that government is perfectly suited for.
Let's sound the uterus.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
Yeah.
Government can't get much smaller than the uterus.
Somehow the right-wing one fits in there all the time, though.
Yeah.
All right, on to science.
So, as you know, there are a number of phase 3 trials underway. One of them is a candidate by Pfizer, which there's some rumblings that Pfizer is going to be pushing for an emergency use authorization. And that's just all sort of come out in the last couple of days. And already, Pfizer had set a very weak goal to make it through phase 3. And they plan to stop their phase 3 study when they get 32 cases of the coronavirus. Now, normally when you approve a vaccine, you want your phase 3 trial, which has tens of thousands of people, you want to get 150 to 160 cases, so you have meaningful data. All right, let's look at the control, the placebo arm, and let's look at the vaccine arm, and let's look at the ratio of who got infected and who didn't, and run some meaningful statistics. Because you want this phase 3 trial to be robust, but you don't want it to take 15 years while an infectious disease is rampaging along. So statisticians who are much smarter than me have said, okay, the power of this study to give you the intended result in the case of a vaccine seems to be about 160 people. So Pfizer, for whatever reason, has cut that number exactly into 1/5, down to 32 infections. I'm not sure what magical math they're relying on to do that, but that's a very, very weak standard. And there's even some suggestions that they might push for a standard as low as 26 to apply for drug approval. And now that the definition of emergency use authorization has been changed to this drug may be helpful in this condition, they might not even have to get to 26 people. They could literally submit their phase 1 and phase 2 data based on very small numbers of people, like 200 people saying, well, look, we injected this into dozens of people, and what do you know? They got antibodies, so this may be helpful. There's no actual evidence that it has prevented infections. There's evidence that it provoked an immune response, and that it didn't kill anybody. So basically, the rumor on the street is that Pfizer might start pushing for an emergency use authorization. Say that 10 times fast. Basically, on the strength of the evidence that the Russian vaccine came out on. So the Russian vaccine got to the level of phase 1.5. Okay, phase 1 didn't kill any of our early volunteers. Phase 2, okay, there's evidence that it, in a significant percentage of cases, an immune response appears. We've got these antibodies. All right, let's roll it out. So when we come back to that earlier story about Secretary Azar sending out this memo, taking control of the FDA, you can start to see, well, why might he want to take control of that? Oh, Pfizer is coming along with this really weak phase 3 trial to try and get across the finish line first. And, isn't this interesting? But here's a problem. I mean, there's a couple of problems. One, you want a vaccine that works, right? The public is already very nervous about vaccines. I don't like getting needles in me. No one likes getting needles in them. Well, some people do, and they wear leather and they go to clubs. But the rest of us don't necessarily like having a needle jabbed into us. And so when you've got an intervention that gets people nervous, you really want to get it right, because it's really important to have public trust on your side. So wouldn't it be great if, say, we knew already that the Pfizer vaccine had absolutely no side effects and therefore was not going to cause a problem, so even if it didn't work as well, no harm, no foul, right? Well, on top of everything else, the Pfizer vaccine is actually associated with a pretty significant side effect profile. Let's see if we can pull that up. Here we go.
Yeah. I think I can share that image.
If you can share that image. Nice, yeah. So they're giving it in 3 doses, 25 micrograms of antigen, 100 micrograms of antigen, and 250 micrograms of antigen. And if you look on the left, that's after vaccination number 1, and then on the right is vaccination number 2. So there's a few things to notice at a very high level. The second round of the immunization seems to provoke much more significant side effect profile than the first round. And if you look at this, the gray bars are mild severity, the blue are moderate, and that kind of pudding orangey brown, butterscotch, I guess, is severe. There are a lot of people running into a lot of side effects from this vaccine, right?
Let's explain what some of these terms are here.
Sure.
Arthralgia.
That's joint pain.
Myalgia.
Muscle pain.
Erythema.
Erythema is redness.
Yeah, and induration, that's swelling.
That's swelling, yeah. So if you look at this, the 250 microgram dose, basically 100% of trial participants are getting pain.
Yeah.
40% of them are getting moderate pain.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And almost, more than 90%, even at the 100 microgram dose, are getting pain. And then if you look at the second vaccine, you go back up to any systemic symptom.
Yeah.
100% of people after the second round are getting some systemic symptom.
Yeah.
The vast majority of them moderate or severe. If you look at the very top.
Yeah.
All the way up. Move your cursor all the way up.
Oh, all the way up here. Any systemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So 100% of people are getting any systemic symptom at the 100 and 250 microgram dose, at least moderate and severe.
Over
in the case
20%
of,
severe. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like the perfect storm for a disaster. So here's a vaccine that potentially is going to get rushed out so that the administration can say, look, we have a vaccine in time for the election. Everybody's going to get side effects. We have no idea how effective it is at preventing the disease. There's your vaccine, America.
Yeah.
Would you roll up your sleeve for that? I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep locking myself in my house and wearing a mask whenever I have to go out. I'm gonna wait for the next bus.
Yeah. I feel like the Pfizer vaccine announcement is going to be the Comey letter. Like remember leading into the Trump Trump Clinton election, and we're all pretty sure, and Clinton was doing pretty good, and then Comey announces the stuff about the email server. Like was it like a week before the election? I think he dropped it.
10 days. 10 days. Yeah. Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Yeah.
A bunch of emails, and it turns out that they'd already been seen.
Yeah.
He could have spent the 1 hour to get his IT guy to say, "Hey, are these emails already in the database?"
They're going to do the same thing.
Click.
This is the biggest bullshit political group that I've ever experienced in my life, and there's no way that they are not going to make that last minute move to try to convince their base, we've done it. Vote for us. If you don't vote for us, they're going to block this vaccine.
So, and then all the red hats will line up.
Yep.
Get the vaccine, or a lot of the red hats will line up and get the vaccine. A lot of them are going to run into some pretty miserable side effects.
Yep.
And a lot of them are going to complain about that. And poof, there goes trust in vaccines. There goes trust in public health. Good luck launching a vaccine. This is literally the nightmare scenario, a politically rushed vaccine. Yeah. This is the thing we were all laughing at Russia for doing 3 weeks ago. And at least the Russian vaccine, as far as we know, isn't associated with this crazy boatload of side effects.
So the Pfizer vaccine is worse, is what it seems.
It may actually be worse. Yeah. I mean, these side effects this is off the hook.
Yeah. Yeah, 20% serious side effects.
Yeah, 20% severe severity of some side effects.
And did you say it was 1,500 people they gave it to?
So far these are in phase 3. I don't know what the size of the phase 3 specifically in this case is, but let's have a look. I'll pull up the New England Journal of Medicine. We conducted a phase 1, after the first vaccination, antibody responses, conclusions, immune responses, no trial limiting safety concerns, finding support for the development.
I thought you said 1,500.
Yeah, I can't find the number, but typically a phase 3 trial is typically around 20 to 30,000 people.
Oh, okay.
So they tend to be pretty big. But this specific data about side effects, I don't know what the population pool that came out of. I'm trying to find it. No serious adverse.
If it was 20,000, that's 4,000 people with severe side effects.
Well, the real question is what's going to happen when 2 million people show up at the public health clinics in their red hats looking for this vaccine.
And because what if it's 20% severe, 1% dead?
Well,
right?
Or I don't think there have been any side effects that would actually limit or halt the trial. Yeah. I don't think there have been fatalities, but there's going to be a whole lot of people out there feeling just miserable because of this vaccine. And they'll tell 2 friends, and they'll tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on. And this could just be just a public health disaster.
And this will be the message we'll be saying too, which is, look at this vaccine has not been vetted by actual good scientists. This has been politically chosen. Do not judge other vaccines based on this one. And we will tell them all of that when it's going on, and they won't listen then. And then when it gets revealed that we were right, they'll forget that we pointed that out. And you are absolutely right. It's just going to shatter confidence in vaccines. Then when the next vaccine comes along, the one that's actually gone through and taken the time and made sure it doesn't have side effects and made sure that it's not just an immune response, but it actually provides immunity, and that all the scientists and we all go, okay, finally we've got the good one. Yeah. It'll be too late. It'll be too damn late.
Yeah.
All because a fucking fascist spoiled brat got voted in because Russia hacked the election machines.
Because we live in the Trumpman show. We
We
all live in
do.
the Trumpman
We
show
live in
now.
the Trumpman show. I can't. How about the news? So we saw some news. I'm going to segue into this one.
Yeah.
We heard that coronavirus can spread easily on long plane flights.
Yeah, so I mean, that's much ado about something, but not very much. It's a study that recently got published, and so of course it makes a splash because everybody's concerned about airplanes.
Yeah.
You can't really make much of a judgment from this study because it was based on a study from early March, back when airlines weren't requiring people to wear masks. It was still not clearly understood what the full mechanism of transmission of the disease was. So there's a guy sitting up in first class, coughing through the entire flight, and 13 people in first class got infected. And there's this great illustration. Let's see if I can find it. The poor flight attendant, way in the back of the plane, who no, it's paywalling me. Sorry. Maybe you can pull it up. So up in the first class cabin, there's like 14 people who get sick, and then way in the back of the plane, there's this economy flight attendant who ends up also getting sick. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Supposed to be here today. So that was the I guess it's dark humor. It isn't funny when anyone
It's not.
gets coronavirus, but
That's the
it's
thing.
sort of this womp womp.
I can take a little bit of, it's not joy, a tiny lift out of anti-maskers and stuff catching it. But even then, I know that those people are going to spread it to others who don't deserve it. And those others who don't deserve it, especially people working jobs like flight attendants, that is terrible. That is a goddamn tragedy that they caught it. It is not their fault. So what you're saying, though, is so this is from pre-masking.
Right.
The person was hacking up a lung.
Right.
So, yeah.
Can't make much of this. What we do know is since airline travel and coronavirus have been mixed, there's been a lot of surveillance of what's going on in airplanes. I think 10 or 11,000 contacts have been followed. There's just not much evidence of significant transmission on airliners because you've got those big jet engines, you can push a lot of air with them, so airliners actually exchange their air about every 5 minutes, 12 times an hour, so they're really good from that point of view. Everybody has to wear masks now. There's really good procedures around hygiene. Lots of hygiene opportunities are available on airplanes, and so airplanes haven't proven to be a significant source of coronavirus, although they continue to get followed. So, for instance, anytime an airplane lands and we find out there was somebody on the plane with coronavirus, here in BC, that information gets published by the Center for Disease Control locally, and anyone who was on that flight can then go and get tested if they want. So far, it doesn't seem like that's led to many well-proven incidents of exposure on airplanes. So airliners may actually be okay.
So while
kind of in this tube and
so while
scared.
the article's true, it's true about a time before we made these changes.
The time before masks.
Yeah, the time. Yeah, I remember it. I remember being kind of anti-mask because that's what we heard. We've talked about this before, that the whole idea about them has changed. So let's move on to disinformation then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so grade A boneless wings. There's a paper that came out that was published on a preprint server, and we've talked a lot about preprint servers. That's a place where science that hasn't been peer-reviewed yet can go. And there's one called zenodo.org, which prints anything. You submit it, they'll print it. There's not even any kind of cursory review. It's like the Something Awful of preprint archives.
Or even more.
Wow, does anyone remember Something Awful? Is
I
that a
totally
thing?
do. I still have my account. I haven't been there in a long time, but
Yeah.
never banned.
Never banned, somehow. So this paper came out last week that managed to attract a fair bit of attention in the news, as these things do. Unusual features of the SARS-CoV-2 genome suggesting sophisticated laboratory modification rather than natural evolution. Well, of course, that article is going to draw a lot of attention. It got my attention. And what else got my attention was the fact that and I should put the Zenodo link here in the chat, so that you can all go look for that if you want. The organization that this research came from was the Rule of Law Society and the Rule of Law Foundation of New York, USA.
That sounds like a fascist organization, doesn't it? The
It
Rule of
certainly
Law Organization.
it certainly doesn't sound like an esteemed infectious disease laboratory or university.
Yeah.
So, some enterprising reporters did a little bit of digging into the Rule of Law Society, and what do you know? It was created by Steve Bannon. So I will put that link in the chat.
God damn it.
Yeah, a lot of political derp, a lot of political intrigue this week, both north and south of the 49th parallel.
It really shocks me how much fascists don't give a shit about the spread of this virus. Like that's how you know that they've just gone full evil. Like if I were an evil trying to take over the world guy, I would also be worried about a virus killing everybody, like including my friends and stuff. So fight that. Like why does your strategy not be let's solve this virus better than those wusses who aren't fascists like us would and save more people, and that'll prove that we're the ones. And they haven't even tried that. Do you know what I mean? Like they haven't even said, hey, why don't we do this right and prove that our way is the right way to do it? They don't care at all about the truth.
Yeah.
They don't care one goddamn bit.
Also, I mean, part of fascism is ideals around strength.
Yeah.
So we are superior. Trump was in Minnesota. It was earlier today or yesterday, talking about how you've got good genes here in Minnesota. He literally used that phrase more than once.
Yeah.
Talking about horse races or horse breeding. Yeah. So if the mask is anywhere, it's like kind of dangling from the chin now,
Yeah.
holding just one.
I know.
One. So there's this, there's an idea that if you're the master race, you don't need to worry about trivial things like respiratory viruses. So why would we take precautions, right? So there's a whole lot of side conversations that happen around, and there's ideals of, say, that one thing that social scientists have noted over and over and over again: the vast majority of individuals who are mask refusers are men. And there's definitely an idea of machismo strength and courage, and wearing a mask is emasculating, effeminating, or effeminizing. So there's all sorts of pathological ideals that get wrapped around this whole idea.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it last week when I went to the grocery store that's near here, which they have a mask requirement. There is a sign outside, and there's a security guy. But I don't know how, but I counted 5 different people inside shopping without masks on. And every one of them was a young dude, like from the age of, I'd say, 20 to maybe 35. And I did see some older guys with like dick noses, like where their mask was down to here. But I mean, at least the guy had a mask. But no, these just young, in shape dudes who, and it perfectly aligns with that machismo. I don't have to worry about it. That's not how infections work, dude. You can't buff your way out of getting infected.
Yeah. I like shopping at TNT. Everyone's wearing a mask. All the time.
The vast majority were. Yeah. Part of me wanted to be that guy who literally went to the security guy and went, "Well, the fuck aren't those guys wearing masks? Why aren't you doing your job? Get those guys out of here." But I just kind of went, I'll just avoid those guys, and just didn't walk down the same aisle as them. None of them were coughing.
That's what ends up happening. So not only did the coronavirus not come from a lab, despite the Rule of Law Society's opinions to the contrary, It also didn't come from space.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. There's I guess an infectious disease theorist
scientist.
who has proposed that it's just not possible that something like this could have a terrestrial origin. Did you catch his name? Here's the
Yeah,
link.
yeah. Chandra
Um,
Wickramasinghe.
right, and this is the same guy who has previously made waves. Was it
SARS.
the original 93
He's
SARS?
been saying it since this. He released a book in the 70s about how called
Oh,
Diseases from Space. He co-wrote it with Fred Hoyle. And he has been trying to prove that diseases like SARS or influenza have come from space. He is a Sri Lankan born British mathematician, astronomer, and astrobiologist.
I don't know if that's a thing. It might
So,
be a thing.
well, there's no link in his Wikipedia page to astrobiologist. So, astrobiology. Let's see. Is that even a thing? It's an interdisciplinary scientific field concerned with the origins, early evolution, distribution, and future of life in the universe.
Sure. Yeah.
But he's a mathematician and astronomer. He's not a biologist who went into astrobiology. He's just a guy who went, I'm real good with math and looking at stars. And wouldn't it be neat if maybe viruses came from space in the same way that panspermia thinks that life might have come from space?
Yeah, so this is the opposite of panspermia. It's like
Yes.
panecocide. Panecocide.
Pan-ecocide.
Yeah.
The
Death is coming from
viruses
space.
the viruses are coming from space and they're gonna get us. I mean, looking for followers. Looking for followers, Prime views. Hey, I gotta ban somebody. Hold on one sec.
Sure,
I thought they were saying this guy was looking for followers, and I was gonna say he's just looking to sell books. But
Bigfollows.com.
how does Twitch not automatically catch Big Follow Starcom? Oh, why can't I? Hold on. Can I not? I can't ban. There we go. I can do it through here. Good.
Boom. Message deleted by moderator.
Yeah.
Banhammer strikes again.
Sorry.
So,
yeah.
yeah, so the virus, not from a Chinese lab, not from New York, not from space.
How do I?
Yes, Banhammer. That brings us to the denials of the week, and it's a tough one. Why don't we start with the video? Because at least
Oh yeah.
let's sort of shake things up a little bit.
These so culty, so culty.
Yeah,
It's like the overconfidence from these people. Like I just don't understand where they get. Here we go.
Take your mask off! Yeah, take it off! Fucking idiot. Take off your mask! Take it off!
Imagine being this confident and being this wrong.
Yeah, we got someone! Take it off! Look at his face! Look at his example! Look at his face! Take your mask off!
A lot to unpack there. Not the least of which was that somebody was playing Cheap Trick on a on a boombox. Like, wow, okay. We're not going to take it. I suppose that's why they were playing that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that, that's you got that from your Republican dad's record collection. That's not yours. I imagine Cheap Trick wants nothing to do with this either, or I hope they don't. But that was really, okay. So here's some college students. It's early in the term. We're gonna go out and be zany, and we're gonna wear our red hats. Make red hats white hoods again. But anyway.
But yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's not the right one.
So it's kind of fascinating going, back to those themes we were talking about earlier, purity, virility, strength. That was a very white crowd. It was a very young crowd. It was a very confident crowd. It was a very wrong crowd.
Yeah.
Wearing it all on their sleeves. So that that was kind of interesting. We're seeing a lot of that kind of video. So you know, you get points for confidence, but you kind of lose points on originality because it's been done. It's been done to death. We've been seeing these videos all summer. So I don't know if I can give Denialist of the Week to the Florida college students. So this brings us to number 2. You remember when we used to talk about chloroquine, the zombie drug that was unkillable? Well, Zombie Herman Cain has been back on Twitter, and the context is a recent tweet from Herman Cain in which a news article was tweeted. There was a public meeting at a library, and the police hauled out an attendee at the meeting who wasn't wearing a mask, and Zombie Herman Cain had this to say. It's a short tweet.
I posted the tweet already.
Okay, it's time for the obsessive mask wearing to wear off. Now, I don't know who's controlling Herman Cain's Twitter feed.
Somebody who sold their soul.
Yeah, or like maybe this is Herman Cain, and maybe he sold his soul, and maybe he's tweeting from hell, and this is his punishment. He has to tweet from hell, encouraging people to do the thing that killed him.
Yeah.
This is beyond parody. I don't know how to parody this. There's no way to parody this.
It's like somebody who died in the Twin Towers on 9/11 saying it's time for us to stop locking up the front of the cockpits of airplanes.
Yeah, or imagine, there's these two Twitter accounts, right? Tower 1 tweet, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Tower 2 response tweet, lol.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, Herman Cain was famously anti-mask, famously refused to wear a mask at the Tulsa rally, got the coronavirus, had a horrible case of COVID-19, was in the ICU for 25 days, and then died in the ICU on a ventilator of coronavirus. And now here's his zombie Twitter account.
It was run by evil people. They're evil.
Chiding people about wearing masks, and this isn't the first time this has happened. So, points for persistence, points for weirdness, points for unparodiability. But I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can give the award to someone who's dead. It's like the Nobel Prize, man.
Yeah.
The Nobel. You can't be a Nobel laureate if you're already dead.
Although
Only the living.
He is denying that he's dead, really, by continuing to tweet.
Yeah,
So
but I'm not going to reward the wily works of Satan by giving an award to Zombie Herman Cain.
Okay.
Zombie Cain, stay dead.
I'm gonna put the winner up on screen so people can enjoy it and how pathetic
so
it's done.
This week's winner is
Mr. C.
Good. Mr. C. All right, and Joe is going to give us a dramatic reading.
It's a strange feeling when I go to Tesco and I'm the only one in there without a mask. It's like a feeling of ascension, being able to gaze upon a mad society from above and thank God that somehow I am immune to the lunacy, the propaganda, and the fear. Yet, it's also a burden.
Well done.
Assholes. Fucking dopey, arrogant shitheads.
So that amazing tweet we're gonna put in the chat
and that is a tweet by at Mr. C 069666767.
Definitely a real account.
Totally a real dude.
But that was just like, oh wow, that right there That's English upper class private school twit level.
That was liked by Ann S., whose bio says humanity lost its sanity.
Humanity lost its sanity.
And she
Yeah.
retweeted, am a retired GP, will not wear a mask myself, as they are dangerous to most people's health because they cause hypercapnia and lower oxygen levels, producing physiological stress, cortisol release, and depressed immunity. Viruses 0.1 microns. Viruses pass through masks, no protection. That is from Janine Morgan, who is a retired GP, who doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about either. How many masks did you wear, Rob? How many? Was it 6 we got you up to?
It was 6.
Rob wore 6 masks on this show while wearing an oxygen meter, and it went up when he was wearing the 6th one.
90%. As witnessed by Darth Vader.
His blood oxygen level went up from when he was wearing no masks to when he was wearing 6 masks. You fucking idiot. God damn, people are dumb. Bugs me so much. Let's move on to some fun stuff. God damn it. That was our denialist of the week.
But also a burden.
It.
Okay, so good stuff of the week. We got heavy good, we got lawful good,
Yeah.
but then we're going to wrap it up with some chaotic good. So,
I think this is the chaotic good. The first is because it's not exactly being nice, but I do love it.
it's pretty great, and we'll give you the link here. So this happened in. This is the Jakarta Post in East Java.
East Java.
So Indonesia. And there they have a pretty interesting approach. If you don't wear a mask, they don't fine you. They don't jail you. They make you dig graves for the coronavirus dead. And there's a photo in the article, which I commend to your attention, from July the 27th. So, health protocol violators in Gresik, East Java, were ordered by local authorities to dig graves for those who have died of COVID-19 as punishment for not wearing face masks in public. Yeah. I can totally get behind that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the daily change on new cases for Indonesia, and it is just going. It's just going up. There, it has not reached a peak.
Sounds like a province that we currently live in.
Yeah.
So,
BC.
So that's nice because that's as you pointed out when we were doing our pre-production meeting. That's not a punishment that you can escape with wealth.
Yeah.
If you have to pick up a shovel and dig, you just have to pick up a shovel and dig. It's not like paying the $500 anti-mask fine and going, doesn't touch my life.
I'm loaded. Who cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I don't think we have enough graves to dig, but I like the idea of making people who literally harm other people's lives having to dig the graves for the people.
Face the consequences directly.
Yeah.
I can get behind this.
Yeah, totally.
It's very creative. It's non-carcereal. It's community-oriented. This to me this is what justice looks like.
Yeah, agreed. Let's leave with something fun. We've actually had this for a little while now. A bunch of you have probably seen it. Rob, I don't think you've seen it yet, though. You still
I haven't seen
watched
it.
The video? Awesome.
I haven't seen it.
So this is a man at a Lincoln City Council meeting from August 31st, so it's almost a month old. It's three weeks old now. His name is Andrew Christensen, and he has a very important thing to bring up to the city council there. And let's just take a look at that, shall we? Come on, full screen. There we go. Here we go. And it's 2 minutes long. We're gonna play the whole
I won't take up too much of your time here. My name is Andrew Christensen. I live at 1212 Twin Ridge Road. Lincoln has the opportunity to be a social leader in this country. We have been casually ignoring a problem that has gotten so out of control that our children are throwing around names and words without even understanding their true meaning and treating things as though they're normal. I go into nice family restaurants and I see people throwing this name around and pretending as though everything is just fine. I'm talking about boneless chicken wings. I propose that we as a city remove the... Excuse me, I'm trying to...
Yeah.
Excuse me, come on.
I love that a council member
I
said,
propose
dude,
we
yeah.
as a city remove the name Boneless Wings from our menus and from our hearts. Here's our reasons why. Number one, nothing about boneless chicken wings actually come from the wing of a chicken. We would be disgusted if a butcher was mislabeling their cuts of meats, but then we go around and pretending as though the breast of the chicken is its wing. Number two, boneless chicken wings are just chicken tenders, which are already boneless. I don't go to order boneless tacos. I don't go and order boneless club sandwiches. I don't ask for boneless auto repair. It's just what's expected. And then number three, we need to raise our children better. Our children are raised being afraid of having bones attached to their meat. That's where meat comes from. It grows on bones. We need to teach them that the wing of a chicken is from a chicken, and it's delicious. I propose that we rename boneless wings in the city of Lincoln. We can call them buffalo-style chicken tenders. We can call them wet tenders. We can call them saucy nugs or trash. We can take these steps and show the country that where we stand, and that we understand that we've been living a lie for far too long, and we know it because we feel it in our bones.
Thank you, Andrew.
Wait.
Okay, hold it down, please.
Wait,
I would
there's a
like to
postscript.
just comment here. For the record, that's my son.
I love that because he's right. He's totally right. It's bullshit.
I don't sufficiently appreciate the dilemmas that you carnivores face. I've been insufficiently sensitive.
I know.
Right, to these problems.
You never have to worry if there's bones in what you're eating. We're
I
constantly...
get worried if there is a bone. I get worried.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas we're hypervigilant about it, so hypervigilant that we need to be told that these chicken wings are boneless.
This is a serious nomenclature problem.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching Viral Transmissions, episode 27, which we have been calling Grade A Boneless Wings. Did we call it? No, it was Grade A Boneless
Wings.
Yeah, Grade A Boneless
wings.
Wings. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, Marvin agrees as a kitchen manager. Yeah. See, the experts
all right.
agree.
Okay.
We're 100% there.
That's his domain.
So thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate those of you who come out to it live and take part in the chat and stuff like that, especially those of you who subscribe. Again, thanks for the subscription. That's a big deal. The big thing you can do for us, though, on top of that, is tell your friends about this. We need to get more people watching the show. Thanks to the BCHA for supporting us. We need to get more people watching the show. I feel like this is, I've said this before, but I'll say it again because we've got new people. There's a lot of COVID stuff every week. It's overwhelming to us. It's hard to keep track of because because news organizations are throwing out all the information that they can. A lot of the times you get stuff that isn't exactly right. Like, for example, the spread on airplanes story that went kind of viral, which is, it was true back then, but now we've made a lot of changes, so it probably does not count. So you don't have to worry about it so much. I feel like taking that and explaining it to everybody is a vital function of the show. Plus, me having water while I'm doing the show is vital because I don't, which is why I'm coughing. Sorry. So I think that's really good. I think that you can basically not worry so much about the news through the week. Catch up with Viral Transmissions. We'll handle it for you. We'll keep track of everything. We'll let you know what you need to know. And follow us on all the socials and stuff like that. We're trying to ramp up how that works. So I guess what I'm trying to say it way too long, is spread the word, not the virus. Please wear a mask. Please wash your hands, practice social distancing, and tell your friends about the show. We'll see you all next week, 7 o'clock, same time, same place. Goodbye.